everyone. I'm Chantal with Growing Up Without Borders. Today I'm connecting with someone who I met while traveling in the country of Cambodia. We were in Siem Reap. Just met him at a little local cafe where we were going every day to get work done. He's from Brazil, but he's living in China. And he had quite the adventure going back home to China. And so let's connect with him, see what's happening over there right now during the coronavirus. Today is April 13th. So let's connect with Lucas over in China. How are you, Lucas?
I am good. How about you?
Very good. Thank you. Since we've last seen each other, it wasn't so long ago, was it?
It was like maybe 1 month and a half, I guess.
Yeah. And how things have changed in such a short amount of time from when we saw you
Yes,
till now.
it's been crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah, most borders are closed now, and yeah, things got really crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, everything's changed. So, because it sounds like you had quite the adventure getting home.
Yes, it was a little bit crazy. After Cambodia, I went to the north of Thailand.
Okay.
I stayed there for maybe 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
And then things were starting to get a little bit worse in Thailand. And I ended up deciding to come back to China, where I work and where I'm living for now.
Tell us what you do for a living. What do you do there?
I'm teaching English and capoeira.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, but now, I mean, is it all still, well, I guess tell us, what is China like right now? April 13th, what is it still fun?
Well,
Are you closed?
it depends on the province. Some places are a little bit better, some places not very well. But where I live, things are getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Many stores and commerce and restaurants are working normally, but you still don't see as many people on the streets as usual.
Do you think people are still a little bit hesitant? They're still a little apprehensive. Should they go out? Should they not?
Yes, they are allowed to go out here as often as they want, but they still don't. I think there's like a fear in the air,
Sure.
And everybody, most of the people on the streets, they are always wearing masks.
Yeah,
like a long time ago.
I think it's going to take a long time for people to start to get back to a normal lifestyle, if you will, if that, right? Until there's a vaccine, I think a lot of people are going to be very hesitant of a lot of things. So, but let's back up your story. Let's back up and see, what was the process of you getting home? Because you initially thought you were going to go home to your home, like your house, right? And be in your own.
Yes, exactly.
And it was a big shock. So tell us about what happened and how that all played out.
I kind of had like a bad stroke of luck because the policy changed 2 days before I arrived to China, and I didn't know about this change of policy. When I arrived, I had to stay 2 weeks in a room, in a hotel designated by the Chinese government, and I couldn't go out. They tested me for coronavirus 2 times, and I had to stay like 2 weeks, 14 days in the room. I could not get out of the room, and they would bring me food and water 3 times per day, and I was locked inside the room for
and that was it.
14 days.
Who paid for the room?
I paid. I had to pay it. Yeah.
You had to pay. And so was it a hotel or what was it?
Mm-hmm. It was a room in a hotel, like a little space, like a little desk, so you can put your
So you had computer. Your computer? At least you had a computer with you?
I didn't have my computer. I only had my phone.
No! Oh, that's awful.
But I was lucky because I brought some books with me, 3 books. So it was enough for me. So I would read books and watch Netflix on my phone. And I watched a lot of movies. I talked to my family many times, talked to a lot of friends back home, people that I hadn't talked to in a long time. So
yeah, I mean, I guess you had the time. Right? Crazy.
I had a lot of time.
And then tell me.
And I had a little space where I could practice yoga too. So, well, it was not that bad.
Yeah, it could be worse, right? Yeah, that sounds.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. Tell me about the process from on the plane. Was there very many people still on the plane at this time? Do you have any pictures of that?
I have some pictures. The plane was full. The plane from Chiang Mai to Bangkok, it was like a normal domestic flight. Mm-hmm. And then from Bangkok, I flew to Guangzhou. It was the first city where I arrived in China.
Okay.
As soon the plane was full, a lot of people, And as soon as we landed in Guangzhou, we had to stay a long time on the ground. And then some people, officials, they were all wearing those clothes, those special clothes, like astronauts. I don't know, those people who take care of bees. Like all
like
covered
it looks scary.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, with masks and glasses, and they were all covered up, and they they took the temperature of everybody, and they asked like some questions. We had to fill out some forms, and then we could get out of the plane. This took like about 2 hours, and as soon they took us to a special room where we didn't like it was we were separated from everybody else from other flights. So we went to this room, and they gave us like more forms to fill out, and we filled out these forms, and then we were taken to another room where the people were separated. The people who had connections were to this room where I was going because I had a connection to come to Chengdu, and the other people, they were taken somewhere else. I don't know where. And I had to wait like for maybe 5-6 hours in this other room, and then I could get my connection to Chengdu, the city where I arrived and where I would stay the 14 days for the quarantine in the hotel. And when I arrived in Chengdu, it was the same process, a long time on the ground, maybe 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. And then people came inside the plane, took the temperature of everybody. We got out of the plane, we were taken to a special room. We had to fill out some forms. If we had felt anything recently, the places where we have been in the past month, like in the past 30 days, and many questions like where I'm doing in China, where I work, where I live, where I'm going, and a lot of questions, like 3 pages forms.
Wow.
So I had to fill out these forms, and then the people who would stay in Chengdu, that was my case, we were taken to a hotel, but I didn't know I was being taken to a hotel. I only found out when I arrived in the hotel. So
is it because of the lack of understanding and you just didn't realize?
Maybe, probably. The people there, they didn't, like, there was like only a guy who could speak a little bit of English, but I was asking him like where we were going, and he said like, oh, I don't know.
Oh
So, and he was Chinese, so.
That's crazy.
And like we were taken to a bus, and before the bus started moving, it was just like parked like for 1 hour outside the airport.
Well, they probably were trying to figure out the logistics. Where do we put them? How's this all gonna? I mean, but they seem
like which hotel they would which hotel they would take us, and because there are like many hotels with that have this kind of partnership with the government, I guess. So.
Wow.
But we stayed like 1 hour inside this bus, and then it moved and it took us to the hotel. In the hotel, we had to fill out more forms, and our temperature was measured like every 30 minutes. There was someone to measure everybody's temperature and to keep records.
Wow.
It was a little bit crazy, a little bit scary at the same time.
Yeah.
It looked like I was in a science fiction movie,
Is that what it felt like?
Yeah, it felt like, I was like, damn, how is that possible?
You know what? It seems like the Chinese government, that's why they were able to eventually get it under control, because they had such strict measures in place and such control.
Yes,
and everything.
Yes, totally, yeah.
It's the only way. But now, I mean, you're there right now. Are they worried with people still coming in? Because now, can it revive itself, right?
I think now the borders are closed. Only Chinese people can get in China now, and foreigners cannot come anymore for a while. I think the border was closed like 10 days after I arrived. They closed the borders.
Okay. Now,
I don't know for how long the borders will be closed, but for now, I don't think anybody can come in.
Yeah, and like everywhere. I mean, this is the big question.
Yeah, most countries now are like this.
Yeah, full lockdown. So right now, are you back to work, or partly, or not at all? Like you're full-time back in?
Well, like the school where I work, the classes, most of the classes started, but my classes specifically, they didn't start yet. I'm doing like some things on my own, like some freelances, like with translations,
Mm-hmm.
but not what I work like just on my own online.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if when they opened up back up the country, if it was just done slowly but surely, kind of like on each level, and then let's see how that goes, and then let's add another layer of openness and see how that goes. You know.
Yeah, I think when they open the borders, probably they will be very restrict with it. Like probably people like foreigners, they will have to stay 2 weeks in quarantine in the hotel under the supervision of the government, and probably it will be very restrict. Like,
Yeah, I think this is
but
travel for quite some time now. It's going to be a whole different level of travel when you think of going to a foreign
yeah,
country, right?
it will take a while until traveling internationally will become to normal again. I think it will take months.
Yeah.
And it depends on how fast they develop medicine or vaccination or something like this, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Hopefully they will find out something soon. They will discover something soon.
Yeah. I mean, and then the big question is are we going to have now like a little card that gives you your go pass, like you've already had the virus, or you, if they come out with a vaccine, you have a vaccine for it. Who knows what it's going to be like going forward, right?
I hope if they discover a vaccine, it will make things much easier and things will, I think, will get back to normal quicker and much sooner.
Yeah. So
But
you were in
let's see.
Thailand really up till the 25th, you said, right, of March?
I stayed there until the 17th of March. Yep.
What was it like there then? Because we left around, actually, we left around maybe the same time. So I guess it would have been,
Well, when I left, I think it was like the best moment because things probably there were like a lot of coronavirus cases, but people were still living normally and there was no restrictions at all in Thailand. The restrictions started like just after I left.
oh, wow. Yeah. And then right now, where you are in China, your city where you're living, where is it in comparison
I
to?
live in a city called Deyang. It's very close to Chengdu. Chengdu is the capital of the Sichuan province in the central west part of China,
Okay.
like in the middle, a little bit to the west,
Was
like
it
in the
heavily,
direction going towards Tibet. And
was it heavily affected by the coronavirus as well?
well, there were some cases in the province, but not as many as other areas. It was not that bad. I
Yeah.
think the city where I live, Deyang, that's close to Chengdu, there is no case now. There's 0 cases in the city where I live. In
That's
Chengdu, it's a big city, it's the capital, and there are a lot of international flights. And I think in Chengdu, it was a little bit more affected. So I think there are still some cases over there.
yeah.
But here where I live, there isn't any, I guess.
That's amazing. And what about back home in Brazil, where your family is?
Well, in Brazil now things are starting to get bad. The curve is going up, so the number of cases is growing up daily, and well, people are doing quarantine in most states and in most cities, in the big cities. There is quarantine and social isolation.
Hmm.
Some people respect it, some people don't. The
Yeah.
government doesn't have much control, but I don't know, only time to tell.
Yeah. It seems like the only way to get a grasp on it, unfortunately, is with extreme control, which a lot of countries aren't used to, and they don't like that. You know, it's
Yeah,
easy to do in a country like China because people are used to that. But in a lot of countries,
yes, exactly. And the Chinese government has a lot of control. Like the political system here is different, so
oh yes.
it's easier for the government to control people, I guess.
Hmm. So how long are you planning to live in China for then?
Well, my contract goes until August. Till I think I might go back there, but if things are, I mean, I still like not not very appropriate, not very under control. Maybe I stay here a little bit more until things get back on track there, so I can get back home.
I was going to say it might be tricky, even, it's only April, right? So it's still a few months away. So it's probably going to be okay.
Yeah,
We don't know, do we? Nobody knows which
I hope. I hope it will be okay, but it's still a lot of uncertainty in there, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to make plans now.
Yeah, everything is up in the air completely.
Yeah.
So you're happy though you went back to China?
Yes, yes. In the beginning, I was like, damn. But now I think it was the best choice. Feel safe here. And I talk to my family almost every day, and they are doing okay too. So yeah, I think I don't have much option now because most borders are closed.
You're stuck.
The
We're all
flights, most
stuck.
of them are canceled. So I mean, I just have to do the best with the situation. That
Sure. Yeah, wow,
yes,
crazy. So
exactly.
would you, if you, is there any like advice that you would give other countries that are watching? Because China did a good job at getting it under control. Would you suggest anything or think certain things worked good and other things maybe aren't working so good?
You mean like for the society as a whole?
Yeah,
I mean, I think people just have to try to be patient and hang a while, do the quarantine, respect it till things get back to normal. And I think the people, the authorities, the health authorities of the international organizations, they have they are doing the best they can do to solve the situation. I think their advices of staying home, doing isolation is probably the best advice to hear.
sure.
And I think there's nothing else to do right now. Just wait, be at home, be safe, and
Mhm.
maybe use this time to, I don't know, to look within, try to find some inner peace, maybe practice meditation. It might help during these difficult times, and maybe some yoga. I don't know.
That's great. Yeah, we've been into routine
Try
ourselves.
to practice. Yeah, it's just a phase. It will pass eventually. It will
Sure.
pass.
100%.
So we just have to be patient.
Yeah, it's true. Now, has this affected you if you can't work financially in China? Is there any kind of support for you being a foreigner there to be able to still earn money or to get by?
There isn't. But in my job, I still they're not paying me my full salary, but they are still paying me like 40, almost half of my salary, so I can pay my bills and still live well here with half of my salary. So, but
Oh,
this was a deal with me and my bosses. But if they decided to suspend my salary, I wouldn't be able to do anything, I guess. And
yeah.
probably I wouldn't get support from the government either.
Wow. And that would be a whole different story then. You would be literally stuck trying to figure out how to function and pay your
Yeah,
everything. Oh my gosh, that'd be crazy. I thought
yeah, it
I'm
would be really
certain.
different. But
Yeah, it's very uncertain for a lot of people right now that are going through this because not everybody has a full-time job or they might be on contract working or, you know, I mean, so many different
yeah,
businesses.
people who work independently or they are freelancers and they cannot work online, they are in a much more difficult situation if they don't have like some savings.
Crazy stuff. China had an advance. They had a head start in the whole game, and I wish some of the other countries would have saw and really paid attention to what was happening in China
Hmm.
for their own country and for their own sake. But everyone's learning, so not everybody took those extreme measures.
Yeah, I think most countries and most people didn't expect it would be as bad as it
No,
became.
no, of course not.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank you for taking the time,
thank you,
sharing some different things.
thank you for calling me and for exchanging these ideas. It's my pleasure.